Today, our very own NNORC nurse, Mary Jenkins, will bring us an informative presentation on tips to improve your sleep. Mary has worked as a registered nurse for WJCS and the Yonkers NNORC for just over a year. She's been a registered nurse for 22 years, working in various settings. When she's not hosting us here, she's providing healthcare management, assistance, and monitoring for some of our NNORC members. Basically, she's always in the background, ready to address medical issues and concerns for our seniors. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Val. Thank you for the nice introduction. And this was kind of a really popular subject, the sleep is good medicine. Sleep is essential. And actually, it's the pillar of 3 of healthy lifestyle important features, and that's nutrition, exercise, and sleep. If we have those under control, we really should have our life in pretty much a good place health-wise. But healthy sleep improves your health and quality of life in a variety of ways. This involves making the right choices to prioritize and protect sleep. So you wouldn't think, boy, sleep would be so important, but it really is.
Mary, why is sleep so essential?
Well, healthy sleep allows the body to boost its immunity, it reduces stress, manage weight, and it reduces the risk of chronic diseases. So getting quality sleep and resting more is possible, even though it seems impossible nowadays because we're so busy. But all it takes is just a few simple changes in our behavior throughout the day, and it'll make a huge difference. As a matter of fact, adequate sleep is a fundamental point for optimal learning and functioning ability in our cognitive state. Chronic sleep deprivation can cause us to be impaired in our ability to focus. We can't stay engaged or retain information. That's why driving sleepy is so dangerous. You lose your ability to respond and react in a sufficiently quick manner. And long-term sleep deprivation can affect our long-term memory retention. So there's a lot of problems that could be connected to not getting healthy sleep.
So Mary, what is healthy sleep?
Well, it's probably individualized for most people, but it's really about quantity and quality. There are some people that think, well, I have to have 10 hours of sleep. Somebody else, 7. Some may only live off of 4 or 5. But optimally, most adults need to have about 7 or more hours each night. And that requires not waking up frequently. We should go to bed and wake up at about roughly the same time every day, even if we do or don't have an alarm clock. When we wake up, we should feel refreshed. Healthy sleep requires adequate duration, a good quality, appropriate timing and regularity, and the absence of sleep disturbances or disorders. The thing about disorders is if you do find that that's the problem behind you being able to get or not get good sleep, that's something that we'll talk about later in this program that you will need to see a doctor about.
Mary, what can cause sleep problems when you're older?
Well, there's probably 4 key factors. One is illness and conditions. As we age, of course, medical conditions will affect our rest, like arthritis, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome. I mean, the list is pretty extensive, but I won't go into all of them. But those are some of the few that make sleeping a challenge. But also, as we get older, we take medications. And so sometimes those medications can keep us awake at night. So if we find that might be a problem, it's always a good idea to check with our primary care doctor and suggest that he maybe adjust the time in which we take them, or even suggest how much we take. But we also have changes in life that come about. They are sometimes major transitions in our life that could cause us things like illness, financial problems. And this is probably the hardest one, the death of loved ones, because it could cause so much stress as it has changed our life, and it makes it hard for us to sleep. So if you find that that's the case, you would want to talk to your family or maybe meet with a counselor to find ways to manage your stress. And then last but not least, probably the one that we all look forward to when we get older is retirement. And yet sometimes you might have a lot more daytime that's free, less activity during the day, and then it might throw off your sleep wake schedule. So try to keep your body and mind moving. And, we have all these programs that we present throughout the day to help our seniors to stay engaged in activities, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's getting out in the community, coming to the library. I'm always a big component of volunteering, going to the gym, learning a new skill, spending time with your friends and your family. The point is just to stay active when you find yourself retired.
Mary, I was going to ask you about how to get healthy sleep, but there is a question in the chat. The Reed family wanted to know, if you cannot regulate your scheduling to go to bed and wake up, what advice would you have for someone on shift work?
Shift work is a challenge. I did shift work before. And one of the things that my doctor recommended that I still stick by is, on your days off, try to have a regular schedule. So, and it's a challenge because your body's clock is naturally apt to want to repeat what you're doing on your work days, but trying to still have, a healthy amount of activities during the day. Still, putting into practice some of the tips we'll discuss in a few minutes to, make for a better night's sleep, but trying to get to bed at a reasonable hour, 10 or 10:30, 9 o'clock, whatever your preference is on your days off. Try to maintain that each day off so that when you do have to go back to your new schedule, it won't be as hard on you because you will have gotten some rest.
All right, there's another question in the chat, but I think what I'm going to do is we're going to finish this because I know you're going to be going through the tips for healthy sleep, and we're going to be addressing medications shortly. So I'm not skipping your question, Elizabeth. We're just waiting on it. So Mary, how do you get healthy sleep?
Well, sticking to a healthy sleep routine over time can help you lead to a longer, more productive life. So this sleep routine habit makes you make up your sleep hygiene. And we hear that word a lot, sleep hygiene. And it's not a fad, it's a real thing. And it can help you fall asleep and stay asleep. And there's some pretty simple tips. It's not anything mind-blowing or no great scientific discovery. It's just make sleep work for you. Your daily routine, what you eat and what you drink, your medications you take, how you schedule your day, how you spend your evenings, can all significantly impact the quality of your sleep. So even a few slight adjustments can in some cases mean a difference between sound sleep and a restful night.
So Mary, why don't we go over some of the tips on how to get your best sleep at any age and as you get older?
Well, I try to put these in a logical order to kind of make sense. First of all, you want to keep a consistent sleep schedule. Get up at the same time every day, even on weekends and during vacations. Now, some people may take issue with that on the weekends and taking vacations, but still, it just keeps you in that mode of getting good rest.
So Mary, if I set my alarm on my days off, that's a good idea?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe everybody might not, but I think it works. Okay. So, and we want to get some sun. I always say in the mornings, one of my tips is get your 5 minutes of sun, but getting some sunshine and making an effort to go outside into the sunlight each day, it'll let your body know when it's time to be awake and when it's not. So if you deal with daytime sleepiness, one of the best things you can do is just get up from your space and take a walk. Maybe just go out to the mailbox and back to the house. Just even if you have a little patio or balcony you can stand out on for a few minutes, it just helps the body to know what time of day it is and how you can respond to staying active during the day. wear your sunscreen though, if you are out in the sun for any length of time, but yeah, get you some sunshine. Another thing we mentioned already is set a bedtime early enough for you to get at least 7 hours of sleep. That can be a challenge, especially to go back to the Reed family's question about shift work. Doing shift work, sometimes it can seem hard to get a restful 7 hours of sleep. I know I had that challenge in the years past when I worked shift work, but you just have to adjust it to a different time of day so that you can still manage to get that 7 hours of sleep, because that's how you're still able to have the energy and the restfulness that you need to get through whatever time period you have to stay awake, whether it's 7 in the morning to 10 at night or 10 at night to 7 in the morning. Getting that amount of sleep is going to be good for you.
So the Reed family's asking if you break up the sleep, and I was going to ask a similar question. Does the 7 hours have to be all at one time?
It's best just simply because of the REM sleep. So on in the chat, we have the references to the place where I got this information. And on the website, WebMD, they gave you it's real detailed, but it talks about REM sleep. And REM sleep is super important because when we get our straight solid sleep and we're in the REM, that's when the body has time to rejuvenate itself and repair any damaged cells. It cleans the body. It goes through the liver and through the kidneys and get all the toxins out. But when that time is not sufficiently met, you don't feel rested when you wake up, and your body's not as free of toxins and other things of that nature. So it's best if you can go straight through. Although I know sometimes that's not easy because you go home, you sleep a few hours, you get up, you do some stuff, and then you take another little rest before you go back to work. And I think that's a routine a lot of people get into. And if it works for them, it works for them. But in general, you want to get that REM sleep to be refreshed.
And there was also a question, how long does it take to get to the REM sleep?
That is about, well, I don't know for during the daytime, but I know at night, by the time, say you go to bed at 10 o'clock, so by 2, 3 in the morning, you're in that REM sleep. And you should be in that at least a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours in that REM sleep. It doesn't always work out because we wake up in the middle of the night sometimes. We have to go to the bathroom, different things. But that's about the time period you want to be in the REM sleep for it to probably sufficiently do what it needs to do in the body. And throughout this little tips, we'll run into a little bit more information that touches on what happens in the body during that time period. But it is, your body does go through temperature changes. A lot happens. So good sleep really does repair the body. And that's why when you don't get good sleep, you don't feel healthy in the morning. You still feel tired or groggy. That's an indication that you're not getting quality sleep. So you could still get 7 hours. And is it really quality if you're waking up a million times, going to the bathroom or different things like that? So
Right.
That kind of leads to a point of, okay, so now we know how much sleep we need, we know how we need to do it, but what causes the problems? Well, sometimes using the bedroom for things other than sleep and, your intimate matters with your mate, or when you're sick, those are things that the bedroom is for. Watching TV and, doing work and stuff in bed, that's a bad habit to get into. You really should just focus on sleeping and resting when you're in your room, and not eating large meals before bedtime is important. I know we are a eat out society. We like to go out with our friends, maybe stay out late. And a really important thing is not having large meals before you go to bed. So sometimes with me, I get home late from my other job, and I wouldn't have eaten anything since lunchtime around 11, maybe 12, 1 o'clock. It is 7 and I'm all but starving. So if you're hungry at night, it's better to eat something light, even though you haven't had much since earlier in the day. Just a light snack, and hopefully you'll have a few hours before it's time for you to go to bed, so that you give your body time to digest the food that you've eaten already. And along with that, reducing your fluids before bed. Now, this is a bit of an oxymoron that you and I talked about, because I think it's a good idea to keep a little water at the bedside at night before you go to bed. Just in the incidence of you waking up dry or what have you, you always get a little sip of water. But taking too much water in before bed is what makes us have to break our sleep to get up to go to the bathroom. So you really kind of have to figure out what works for you personally as far as fluids before bed. But definitely it could be a problem or it could be a good thing. So you got to figure that out for your own self, and avoiding caffeine in the afternoon or evening. And that's another one of those topics. Some people, I can drink coffee all day and it doesn't bother me. And somebody else, if I have one cup past 12 o'clock, I won't sleep at night. So you got to decide, which works for you. But too much coffee past a certain time in the daytime, or caffeine in general. So it's not just coffee, tea, sodas, all these things that you can get caffeine from. You just want to keep an eye on it. And maybe you like to have a little drink of alcohol before bed. We talked about this too, is even a small amount can make it harder to stay asleep.
But alcohol, doesn't it make you tired, Mary?
For me personally,
Not you personally, in general.
But in general, it can kind of make you sleepy. But the problem with that is it'll burn itself off. And then it could cause you to wake up in the middle of the night with the effects of the alcohol being worn off. So now you just like totally alert and wide awake. And there's no reversing it. When you're waking up, you just woke and now you're alert. So that's one of the things to be mindful of when you take a little bit of alcohol before bed. It can have a reverse effect on your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And making your bedroom quiet and relaxing. So that goes to, not having your TV on, or working in your bed and things like that. It's kind of hard to have a quiet bedroom if you're staying busy with secular things. But maybe you live in a multi-dwelling location. I know maybe some seniors might live in their own homes. Some may live in residence areas where they share space with other residents. So trying to have a quiet room could be difficult. So maybe you want to try a white noise if you need to drown out the background. Maybe that could consist of, having your air conditioner on or a fan or something going that kind of gives you just some distraction noise. Maybe, long rain. They have all these different devices that can give you these sounds just to kind of relax you a little bit. And you can also get these apps where you're on your phone. You don't have to go out and buy anything, but just something to keep the room in a relaxed, quiet setting. So another point is keeping a room at a comfortable, cool temperature. I remember growing up, my parents were polar opposite. One liked the cold, one liked the hot. And so, and I did a little research with my other coworkers just to kind of see what do you guys do? What do you guys do? And it's just funny how everybody finds this compromise in their families to, keep the balance between who likes it cool and who likes it warm. But the body temperature, and this kind of goes to the point that the Reed family had asked about the REM sleep. It drops a couple of degrees as you get drowsy before bed. And we've all kind of felt that way. It was like, oh, I'm cold. And then before you know it, you're getting sleepy. And it's as low as about 2 hours before you wake up. So sometimes you wake up cold and it's like, well, and you're looking for the covers, and there's the fight about who's got too many sheets and blankets on them. But that's what happens in the REM sleep. Your brain even turns off your body thermometer. So that's when heat or cold in your bedroom affects you more. So you can either wake up too hot at certain times, or you can wake up too cold. And that's all a part of what happens in the REM sleep. So if you tend to have a tendency to wake up hot, it's better for you to make sure your room is cooler before you go to sleep, so that it may even prevent you from waking up at all if it stays at a cool temperature throughout the REM sleep. But in general, a cooler room helps you to sleep better. So whether you're somebody that like it hot or not, a cooler room is good. But it also recommends when you wake up in the morning, if you do tend to have a cooler room, to just do something, right away, get moving to kind of warm your system back up, get your temperature back up. And that kind of makes you more alert, because when you're cold and you're sleepy, you're not as alert. So you want to get your day off with some activities. And take time to calm down before you turn off the lights at night. That's a big thing, because as we mentioned already, we're moving constantly. We're working, we're taking care of our family, we're trying to do so many things. And so by the time maybe we get home and it's time to start winding down for bed, we might be frazzled. But trying to take some time to calm down, turn out the lights, maybe read a book, listen to some mellow music, whatever can help you unwind. But one of the key things is to turn off the electronic devices and turn that TV off at least 30 minutes before bed. And that could be hard to do, especially if you're enjoying a movie. But
Mary,
now,
I've heard that the light from the phone itself can keep you up.
It can. It's a fact. If that phone goes off and you're trying to go to sleep, the lights are all dark. Lights are all off and it's dark, but that phone go off, it'll take you about 15 or 20 minutes to get that distraction out of your mind to go back to sleep. Really? So that's why they encourage you to take about 30 minutes beforehand. Put your phone on silent, put it on sleep mode. I use sleep focus so that no matter what I'm doing, even if I don't remember, my phone goes into sleep mode at 10 o'clock. And so when I go into my room, it does not light up. There's only so many people that could get through to me during that time period. And you can set your phone up to do that so that you're not disturbed by, maybe somebody from another side of the United States contacting you. So it's 3 hours behind and they don't realize, oh, maybe she's in bed already. So it's a way to do it, but definitely turn your phone off, turn your TV off to help get good rest. And wear yourself out before you go to bed. Do a little exercise earlier in the day, but not within 3 hours of bedtime. So we're kind of getting down the list here to some more interesting things, but this one here says, if you don't fall asleep after 20 minutes, get out of bed. And I always thought, I don't want to get up, but what happens is you just lay there trying to force yourself to go to sleep. And you're just laying there. So if you can't go to sleep after about 20 minutes, just do a little quiet activity around the house without the lights on. Just go, maybe, I don't know, go to the bathroom, get a glass of water. One of my favorite things is milk. Get a little milk or something with some cereal, and try to get back in bed when you feel tired enough. But you kind of have to train yourself to think of the bed as a place for sleeping only. And if you can't sleep, get up.
Mary, this goes back to a question Elizabeth had earlier about melatonin or Benadryl. And Z said someone's asking her about valerian root. Will you be addressing all these?
So let me just touch on that right now. I was going to touch on that later, but as far as melatonin and Benadryl, I'm not a real component of, I like natural things. Melatonin, you can get that. It could work for some. I don't think it works for everybody. Benadryl, I wouldn't suggest to use as a sleep aid because it's more designed for a different thing. That's what we take when we, you know, have an itch or some other and a histamine effect, and we want to go against it. So I like to keep drugs for what they're designed for predominantly. And after a while, you can become dependent on those things. And then you won't naturally be able to go to sleep on your own unless you take those. And then before long, your body gets used to them, and then they don't work. So they won't work for you to go to sleep. That last thing, what was that last?
Valerian root.
Valerian root. Now that might be something sounding like a root more natural. That could work. But my caution with anything natural, especially like roots, vitamins, things of that nature, just run it by your doctor first. Because if you're taking other medications, and then you're taking root vitamins or maybe some kind of tea or whatever, they can interact with your other medications. So that goes to why you can't sleep in the first place. Talking to your doctor about, is it something in one of my medications that I'm taking that's making me sleepy during the day? Should I change and take it at night versus in the daytime so that it can actually help me sleep versus me taking it in the daytime and it makes me sleepy during the daytime and then I can't sleep at night. So anytime you're going to introduce melatonin, Benadryl, the root meds for sleep, talk it over with your primary care doctor or your nurse practitioner first so that they can document it and be aware of what you're using. But a little melatonin might help. But I think some of these other little changes that we'll talk about might psychologically do a trick where you don't need to take any supplements or extra things.
So tell us more about this taking, if we don't fall asleep in 20 minutes, we're supposed to get out of bed, and what should we do during that time?
Don't turn on a whole bunch of lights. Kind of still keep the lights low, but maybe go to the kitchen and get yourself. Perfect example. When I worked in the hospital years ago, and we would have older patients, and they would wake up, they couldn't go to sleep. We would give them milk and cookies, and guaranteed within 20 minutes or so, they would be out. I don't know what it is about the milk. I don't know if it was psychologically a comfort for them because that's the way they grew up, eating milk and cookies before bed. And so, and it just made them feel nostalgic and relaxed them into sleep. Not very sure. But either way, sometimes just a little bit of milk, either just room, warmed, or just cold milk with something can make you go to sleep. Or maybe a light activity. If reading relax you, maybe read a little bit. But as soon as you start to feel tired, get up and go to bed right away. But don't just lay there, because you're not gonna go to sleep. If you're not going to sleep in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's just your anxiety heightens because now you're laying there thinking, why can't I sleep? And so instead of your mind relaxing, you're stressing over the fact that you can't go to sleep. So that's my suggestion. Or if you hadn't already taken a warm bath, you could take a warm bath or a warm shower, because when you get out of the shower, the body drops in temperature, and that can help you to feel tired. So it can also help you to relax and slow down. And so you might be more ready for bed after a warm shower or a warm bath, and maybe even having some lavender scent or some night scents that you put on your sheets or on yourself, actually, after you put your favorite pajamas on. So that's one of my favorite things. And then there's 3 other things that's pretty relevant to a good night's sleep that maybe we don't think about. And that's mattresses, pillows, and sheets. And most of us always like to have a reason to shop for something for our house. And so this might be something that you might find interesting. Mattresses are so important. You really need to find something firm enough to support your back and your sleep position but soft enough to fit the shape of your body. Now, I'm not going to go into all the mattress options because that's endless, but I know that I have an adjustable bed, and that's really helpful. And it's particularly helpful for anybody that deals with sleep apnea or any pulmonary cardiac issues. Helps with swelling in the lower extremities. It just has a lot of medicinal effects, those beds that adjust the head and feet. But picking mattresses, like I said, is an individual choice. So don't be afraid, though, to pay a little bit more money for your mattress, because you spend the most important hours of your day on your mattress. If you have a good mattress and it helps you get good sleep, you wake up rested. So any amount of money that you invest in it is worth it for the benefits you get back from it. And it's a good idea to change your mattresses probably about every 5 to 10 years, especially no longer than 10 years with the same mattress, especially if you paid a lot for them, and then flip them regularly. Not so much the case with pillow tops, but you really should have your mattresses flipped probably every 6 months or so, just to wear them balanced. Valerie had an interesting story about the mattress that she told me.
My parents literally had a mattress for 30 years that they used. And when they finally got a new mattress, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
They didn't even realize it wasn't good anymore. So yeah, I think it's something we have to pay attention to, your mattress and your ability to sleep on it.
And it's probably something that, you just think, oh, it's working for me. I've got it broke in. But after a while, once it's too broken, you got to move on. But now this one is interesting, picking the right sheets. I never thought much about that. And that's totally personal choice. But sometimes your sheets can determine how hot or how moist you get at night. So you just want to figure out what works for you. And it's really hard to know how well you're going to like a sheet until you've washed it several times. So that kind of creates a challenge, but it is a good practice to wash your sheets and to wash them often. And it's really a good idea to probably even wash them at least once a week. A lot depends on your, the activities, but mostly trying to, at least wash your sheets once a week, every other week. And that includes the pillowcases as well, just because of the oils and the sweat from your face and your body. They build up on your sheets and your pillowcases pretty quick. And so, it can make a difference in how well you sleep. And also, if you have animals that you let lay in bed with you, you have to be mindful of cleaning your sheets and things a little more frequently, just to keep yourself, healthy and having a better night's sleep. And pillows, as far as pillow goes, choose your pillows wisely, because the wrong one won't just rob you of sleep, but it can cause neck pain, numbness, and headaches. And it's hard to figure out where these headaches are coming from, but sometimes it just might be your pillow. So a pillow, it keeps its shape and it should support your sleep, so your head isn't too far forward or back. And if your pillow doesn't spring back into shape after you fold it in half, it's probably time for a new one. And that's a good principle to go by. If your pillow is so thin and you fold it in half and it doesn't go back to its regular shape, you might want to just get rid of that one and get a new one. But you should also try to wash your pillows too, fairly regularly. Not as often as you do your sheets, of course, but I tend to wash my pillows maybe every so many months, but especially after I've been sick, I usually will wash them. But at some point, washing them won't cut it anymore. You should be ready to replace your pillows every 18 months or so, because they can trap in mold, pollen, and dust mites. And that can make you sick and cause allergies. So if you find yourself feeling like your allergies are getting worse and it doesn't make sense with the outside, maybe you want to replace your pillows and see if that does anything for helping you to, feel better, get better sleep. And not last but not least, but another one is making your bed. I thought this was funny when I read this, but Val and I got a good laugh about making our beds. Growing up, I had to make my bed. I did not have a choice. And it sounds crazy, but if you do, you'll be more likely to get a good night's sleep. And scientists don't know why, but it may be that it simply makes you feel good about where you take your nightly rest. A clean bedroom may help also. No word on whether you have to clean it yourself, though, but a clean bedroom is a good idea.
And they also say a sign of successful people are people who make their beds every morning.
See, maybe my dad had that in mind when he was at me about keeping my bed made.
Just trying to make you successful.
Well, I hope it worked. But so now we got this one is a big one. If you sleep, the position you sleep in. If you sleep on your belly, you may toss and turn more to get comfortable, which means you probably won't sleep as well. Sleeping that way can strain your neck and your lower back, but it's not always easy to change positions. So if you already sleep like this, it helps to use a very soft or thin pillow, or none at all, or try to keep your neck try to keep your neck from hurting. This too, where having one of those beds that adjust, it's kind of helpful, especially if you're a belly sleeper. But if you sleep on your back, this can make snoring worse, and it's hard on your back as well. But this position can contribute to sleep apnea and serious conditions where your snoring interrupts your breathing. So maybe try putting a pillow or a rolled up towel under your knees, which can help the natural curvature of your spine. And that's kind of how I use mine at home. I raise the lower part so that if I'm sleeping on my back, it gives me a nice curvature of my spine so that I don't wake up with back pains. So on a bed like in that position, a thinner pillow is slightly better. Even if you went a little bit thicker, you just want to make sure it's thicker at the bottom to support your neck. So memory foam pillows work best for that position. And I think this next position is one that you talked about, Valerie, if you sleep on your side.
I'm a side sleeper. Now everybody knows.
So you're less likely to snore or have back pain, which is good. But all side sleep positions are good. But the fetal position is probably one of the best. And that's when you have your knees slightly bent toward your chest. And for that position, you probably want a larger, firm pillow to bridge the distance between your ears to your shoulder. And then another pillow between your legs to kind of keep your spine aligned. And that works well. And then we have our coveted naps. We want to avoid naps if we can. Now, I'm a big component of naps because I was kind of a jerk to my parents, I'm sure, when I was younger, and I didn't want to nap. I always wanted to go and play. But now that I've gotten older, I owe my parents a big apology for not being more of a napper, but I'm making up for it now. And so if we do decide to take naps, one of the hardest things to do is keep it down to 20 to 30 minutes.
This is again where setting an alarm would be a great idea.
Get an alarm because your body's not apt to want to just wake up on its own. You just want to just keep it in that window, 20 minutes, hit the snooze once to make it 30, or just set it for 30. But if you don't, you can wake up groggy and it'll mess up your sleep schedule because you can find yourself not being able to go to sleep at bedtime if you slept too long during the day. Or in some cases, maybe you will go to sleep at bedtime, but you might wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning awake and you can't go back to sleep because you got all the rest earlier today. So just an important tip on
I'm going to stop you again. We've got a couple of questions in the chat. One, do you have any advice about TENS or biofeedback?
Pins.
It's the electric stimulation, I think. Yeah.
Well, I know with TENS, I was more used to using TENS for pain, not so much for sleep. I don't have a lot of I don't have much knowledge on how they would use TENS for helping with sleep. I know that sometimes in the event of people who couldn't sleep at night, restless leg syndrome, something like that, maybe they would use TENS to try to alleviate some of the pain, which was what would cause the interruption in sleep. But I don't have any scientific data in front of me that would say how well it works or how well it doesn't work. But that website that's listed in the chat, sleepeducation.org and Sleep is Good Medicine, they have a lot of tips about all those things. So you could probably even go to that website and find an answer to that question. I'd be interested to know what it said as well, but I just don't at the moment have any data readily available.
And the other question was, are there any benefits to taking vitamins to enhance sleep?
I'm a big component of vitamins. I think vitamins are good if we can't get things naturally. I would rather we always get what we need naturally through food and water or herbs or what other things that are available through us through creation. But if it's possible that you can find a vitamin that'll help, it wouldn't hurt. I would still just run it by my primary care doctor or the nurse practitioner. I'm a big component of, even when you do holistic things, natural things, if you're taking any kind of medications that's prescribed through your doctor, you got to let each other know what you're doing so that they don't work against each other. I don't personally know of any vitamins that are the magic trick to help you go to sleep. I think that with this next part, if you find yourself having a lot of trouble sleeping, and say you've gone through and you've tried all these things we just talked about, and you just can't get any sleep, or you can't stay asleep, you don't find it successful. One of the things we always tell our patients, whatever is going on and you keep having problems with it, do a diary. So in this case, do a sleep diary. A sleep diary is a useful way to track your sleep at night at home. So typically you should do it over a 2-week period, and it's most effective if you complete it every day. And it allows you to record when you go to bed, what time you woke up in the nighttime, if you did wake up in the nighttime, what time you woke up in the morning. This will help you understand your sleep pattern and how much sleep you're getting. It also will show you how often you have disrupted sleep. And the sleep diary also will help you note certain activities that affect your sleep. Like if you did have too much coffee, or if you did have that glass of wine before bed, or if you ate a meal that was too heavy and then you went to bed shortly thereafter, if you exercised too late in the day, if you took a nap that was too long, or even if it's some of your medications or your natural vitamins or the melatonin, the Benadryl, anything that you're using, just document that and take that record with you to your healthcare provider. And then between the two of you guys, you could work together to figure out, okay, what the problem is and how to come to an agreement on what you can adjust or do differently to improve your sleep. So it's not going to be a quick fix. So it won't be as simple as, oh, I'll just go out and get this and then I'll be able to sleep. And I think that's the concept behind maybe taking melatonin or Benadryl. Those will be a quick fix for some, but they're not sustainable for long term. And what you want is a long-term plan to regularly get a good night's sleep.
Mary, we have a good question, and I I'm laughing because I have the same issue. It says, what can I do to keep from waking up with my husband's alarm 2 hours earlier than I need to wake up?
Um,
Yeah, other than changing your marital status, I think.
Now that's yeah, that's a tough one there. The I don't know. I don't want to say sleep in separate bedrooms because that's not familiar. You want to sleep in the same bedroom, but maybe I don't know if putting it on vibration on his side will help. I don't know. I have to research that one. That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that, a logical answer, but
Nancy, it might involve talking to your husband about
yeah.
how he sets his alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. But I think if I went to bed the same time as he went to bed, that would probably help. At least I would have the same amount of sleep he's had.
Yeah, well, that's a
That's
start.
But I don't like to do
Right,
that.
adjusting when you go to bed.
Yeah.
That might work.
Yeah. Or maybe putting something in your ears, but then when your alarm goes off, you won't hear it either. So I'm not sure what there is a comment about headphone canceling noise or getting a vibrating alarm clock, but that's my thought. I just thought maybe if he had something that vibrates and, it'll work. If that could work for him, then you don't have to hear it. Or maybe if he can hear it at a lower tone, then so it doesn't interrupt on your side. Or I have alarms where it goes off at different times during the morning, but one I'll have a song and the other one will just be a tone, and then maybe the tone I don't hear. But if my favorite song comes on, I'm like, oh, let me get up. So maybe he might need to change it to something like that. I don't know. Just play around with it. But that's a good question. I have to do a little more research for that one.
That's a good idea. Maybe if he had a different tone, because I think we have the same alarm tone. So maybe I wouldn't wake up
You're
to his.
you're responding to it like it's your
Yeah.
alarm.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Thank you very much, Mary.
That's a good idea, man.
Yeah. So this is gonna wrap up our program. And if you want more help or suggestions, all the resources that I got this information from, it's in the chat. Our dear Alexis put that in for us. So if you have any more questions, now's your chance. Otherwise, I'm on.
Mary,
Yes.
you wanted to mention talking to your doctor and eventually a possibility referral to a sleep specialist.
Yeah. If you go ahead and do the sleep diary, which I suggest you do if you're having difficulties that some of these suggestions doesn't work out for you. And that could be the case for somebody like with the Reed family when they asked about the shift work. That's one of the most challenging situations to be in to get good sleep. So it could require that you need to reach out to your primary care doctor, and he may be able to put you in touch with a sleep specialist. And what they can do is more than likely they'll do a sleep study to see, how much sleep you really are getting. When do you sleep? How well you're sleeping, the quality versus quantity. And it's just a simple referral. And I'm sure insurance covers it, because sometimes it could lead to maybe finding out that you might have sleep apnea. And maybe you don't fit the physical characteristics of someone that they would automatically think has sleep apnea when they look at them. But it is possible for people to still have a problem with sleep apnea and not physically match the characteristics of someone. So there could be a lot of things, but it just goes to, you got to see your doctor if it's not a simple fix and making a few simple adjustments in your behavior.